All right, y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this. Seemed like President Trump just scored a massive win in the Supreme Court. Shout out to President Trump. Of course, we still got these woke leftist judges, these Obama-appointed judges, pretty much trying to tell the president of the United States what to do. Remember, President Trump said that he promised everybody he was going to get these illegal aliens out of here, send them back to their country, and then you got this corrupt judge that's telling President Trump and Tom Homan to turn the airplane around and drop these criminals back into the United States, and President Trump is not going for that. So like I said, salute to the Supreme Court. And of course, everybody, we all thought Justice Roberts was pretty loyal to President Trump. Come to find out, he just another person that's making money with George Soros. So I mean, all of this right here is just messed up. But the main thing is, shout out to the Supreme Court for always doing the right thing, because these judges think they can just tell the president of the United States what to do. Think about this. None of us voted for these corrupt judges. Like I said, Chuck Schumer came out 2 weeks ago and said that they the one been pretty much hiring these judges, these corrupt judges, just to rule against Donald Trump. He said they went hired over 200 some judges, corrupt judges, just so they can rule against Donald Trump. So now, since the Democrats can't do it, they getting these judges to try to overturn everything Donald Trump is doing. And President Trump is not going for it. So we're about to go ahead and dive straight into this. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very first of President Trump's blocked executive orders has just got done making its way through the U.S. Supreme Court. And let me tell you what, we just scored a massive win.
Yep.
Now, this specific case was about President Trump's ban on DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, from federally funded public schools. And so, folks, we are going to have a lot to talk about today. But first, check out the report.
We're apparently just learning about this in the last few minutes from the court. What's going on?
So this is significant because, as you said, this is really the first time that President Trump has gotten a win from the high court since he came back to the White House and has undertaken this expansive effort to reshape the federal government. Now here, the Supreme Court is allowing him to block $65 million in Department of Education grants meant for states to help with teacher shortages. Now, these grants were allegedly targeted because they contain some DEI initiatives. Now, I want to caveat, while this is a win for the administration, it's sort of a lowercase w win, because this is one of the lesser known challenges in this parade of cases that is heading to the Supreme Court related to things that Trump has done since he took office. There's still outstanding questions about whether the Supreme Court will uphold his effort to do away with birthright citizenship or use war powers to facilitate deportations. His lawyers have always told me, Casey, they are confident that even if these policies are blocked at the lower court, that once these ideas, these questions got before that conservative supermajority, that they would prevail. But it's unclear that will be true. I will note in this case that Chief Justice John Roberts sided with the 3 liberal justices dissenting in this decision.
Now, folks, of course, the left-wing propagandists over at CNN are going to try to down...
Trust me, we all know that Justice Roberts is a traitor. He's over there working with George Soros. We found that out a few weeks ago. So he ain't nothing but just another backstabber. There's just pretty much working with the Democrats to try to undermine everything Donald Trump does. So we already know about Justice Roberts.
Play just how big of a ruling this is, but take it from me, this is massive. The reality is that this Supreme Court ruling sets the national precedent that President Trump's federal ban on DEI is now undeniably the law of the land.
Yep.
However, even though this is a huge win for President Trump and really the country as a whole, that CNN report was actually correct about just one thing. You see, this Supreme Court decision was a little bit close. It was 5-4, with Chief Justice John Roberts voting against President Trump's executive order.
See, we already knew he was going to do that, just like I mentioned a few minutes ago. So he pretty much voted against. I told y'all, he just another brainwashed over there with George Soros, doing everything the Democrats want him to do. But yeah, there was the same man that was shaking Donald Trump's hand and all of that. Not saying I want him to agree with everything Donald Trump does, but obviously we can see what Chief Justice Roberts is. No matter what Donald Trump does, he's trying to go against it. He even tried to say the corrupt judge that tried to tell Donald Trump to turn the plane around and bring illegal aliens back to the country. And we talking about murderers, people who done committed crimes, all type of stuff. And he sided with that judge when Donald Trump thought about impeaching Judge Burbois, whatever his name is. Now, I told Justice Roberts is a cornball, man.
Now, for those of you that regularly watch the channel, you'll know that Chief Justice John Roberts has some suspicious connections, to say the least. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I suggest you watch the video that I'll go ahead and link down below in this video's description. But as a quick summary, it would appear as if Chief Justice John Roberts is a member of a very curious, secret, invite-only group of progressive judges. In fact, many of the progressive judges that have been blocking President Trump's executive orders on the federal level across the country are also members of this invite-only group. So what this means is that many of President Trump's upcoming Supreme Court cases, including whether or not he can end birthright citizenship or invoke the Alien Enemies Act to deport illegal immigrants, or whether or not he can federally ban gender-affirming care, really comes down to whether or not Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett rules in his favor. Because, folks, I hate to say it, but I do regrettably think it's safe to say, Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts isn't going to be doing Trump or America any favors.
Nope.
And so, of course, the big problem with this dynamic is that Justice Barrett isn't exactly reliably constitutionally conservative either. She's been known to rule alongside the radical progressives from time to time. So once again, although this ruling about diversity, equity, and inclusion really is an absolutely massive win, we're still not quite out of the weeds yet. And so you know what? To give you guys a little bit of an update on President Trump's ongoing legal battles against all of these hyper-progressive partisan federal judges, take a look at this.
Now what we're seeing is every day President Trump and the Trump administration are being sued by Democrat state attorneys general, by left-wing activist groups, and they're going out and forum shopping. They're seeking the most radical left-wing judges.
And that's exactly what I was just talking about earlier. That's what they doing. They finding these corrupt judges. Like I said, I don't know if y'all seen the clip of pretty much Chuck Schumer pretty much saying that, hey, we went out and got over 200 some judges to get them to just rule against Donald Trump. This is what Chuck Schumer said.
There are those who believe that we are in real time living through an assault on the constitutional order. Do you believe that we are in a constitutional crisis right now?
Yes, our democracy is at risk because Donald Trump shows that he wishes to violate the laws in many, many different ways. The good news here is we did put 235 judges, progressive judges, judges not under the control of Trump last year on the bench, and they are ruling against Trump time after time after time. And we hope that the appellate courts, when it gets up there in the Supreme Court, will uphold those rulings. They restored the money to NIH. They required that 8,000 federal employees have to come back. We're in over 100 lawsuits against them, and we are having a good deal of success. It's only at the lower court level right now.
I mean, these people has been exposed, and we see exactly what they're doing. That's the reason why Donald Trump wasn't falling for it, because he see what these Democrats doing, because they're like, okay, we can't get Donald Trump to stop. We can't get Donald Trump to do what we want to do. So let's find some of these most radical judges that don't like Donald Trump just so they can rule against him. So now they trying to use judges to undermine everything Donald Trump is doing. And President Trump is not going for it. I don't care what they say.
What?
Who are issuing nationwide injunctions that are an absolute abuse of power. Any injunction should cover the parties to a case and not people who are not parties to the case. And I will tell you, the volume of it is truly unprecedented. So in the first 2 months of the Trump administration, we have seen 37 nationwide injunctions issued against the Trump administration. That is more than the entirety, both terms of George W. Bush, both terms of Barack Obama, and Joe Biden's 4 years. All of those added together, the first 2 months of Trump have more nationwide injunctions. This is left-wing activists wearing robes trying to seize policymaking from the elected president of the United States. It's wholly illegitimate. So,
ladies and gentlemen, as I said earlier, regrettably, we are still in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Pretty much every single one of these federal injunctions are going to need to go all the way up to the Supreme Court. And as we talked about earlier, it's a close court. Really, it's an unpredictable court. And you know, I have to say, it really is just absolutely astounding that all of these far-left, radically progressive federal judges have been allowed to file all of these nationally sweeping federal injunctions in the first place.
Crazy.
But hey, here's some good news. There actually is a very small chance that the U.S. Supreme Court issues a ruling saying that at a fundamental level, these nationwide injunctions are actually in conflict with the U.S. Constitution.
That's just why I say this stuff just has to stop, because then it's going to get to the point where they just going to keep trying to undermine everything Donald Trump do, and then all of a sudden now the whole Supreme Court is working with the Democrats. They already got corrupt liar Justice Roberts already in their back pocket. So regardless of what President Trump do, Justice Roberts is going to rule against it. Just like he tried to say this corrupt judge talking about let's dump these illegal aliens back in the country. And I mean, he pretty much went after President Trump. Just as soon as President Trump said he was going to impeach that corrupt judge, here come Justice Roberts. I mean, this is crazy. And the Democrats are going to continue to do this. Everything Donald Trump do, they're going to try to get corrupt judges to rule against him. They're going to continue to keep doing this. Hopefully, the Supreme Court keep, do what they do best. Just keep getting President Trump these massive wins, because President Trump is doing the right thing. Think about it. The American people voted for what Donald Trump is doing. This is what we voted for. We voted for change. We wanted the borders closed. We wanted illegal aliens out of here. This is what we voted for. So why is the Democrats trying to undermine everything Donald Trump said he was going to do, and they just trying to undermine everything he's doing? This stuff has to stop.
In fact, in both 2018 and 2020, various members of the U.S. Supreme Court have issued critiques of national injunctions, with Justice Gorsuch specifically saying that national injunctions risk, quote, turning every district judge into a national policymaker. Sound familiar, folks? Yeah, that is exactly what has happened. But you know what? Here's the truth. With yesterday's DEI ruling, we are off to a very good start, and we do have to be thankful for the wins that we do get. Because once again, as of yesterday afternoon, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, is now federally banned. And so, as we said earlier, there are some very big issues that are going to be heading to the Supreme Court very soon. Whether or not President Trump can single-handedly end birthright citizenship or invoke the Alien Enemies Act to deport illegal immigrants, or whether or not he can federally ban gender-affirming care, the next couple of months really do have the potential to change the entire future of this country.
Yep.
If President Trump gets the Supreme Court's approval to unquestioningly move ahead with his America First agenda, this country really will be reborn almost overnight.
Exactly. It's going to be reborn overnight, but these stupid, dumb Democrats are trying to stop it. These Democrats, they enjoy letting illegal aliens stay here, don't even care if they murderers or whatever they do to the American people. It's like they don't care. Why is Democrats putting illegal aliens before the American people? So when the election time comes in 2028, who in the world going to vote for the Democrats? Why would you vote for them? They showing you who they are right now. They showing you they care about illegal aliens, not the American people.
What?
They showing you that. They don't care about the American people. They care about illegal aliens. That is who they are fighting for. AOC went in a campaign pretty much trying to teach them how to not get caught. This is just ridiculous. I just don't get it at all, man. This is crazy.
But you know what? As things stand right now, DEI is gone, and all of the far left's anti-American racist ideologies are no longer getting taught in American public schools. And you know what? Let's be positive here. That is probably a good sign of things to come from the Supreme Court, because hey, they did just vote to shut down DEI.
Yep.
And you know what? I don't know about you guys, but in my opinion, that is one step along the path of making America great again.
Yep.
Now, before we wrap up,
salute to Matt Morris. Make sure y'all go subscribe to his channel on YouTube. Type in Matt Morris. Let him know in the comment section that DAREALADOGG sent you. I definitely had to bring y'all this because DEI is gone.
What?
Out of here. And so, you know, Democrats going to have a fit. They're going to cry, boo-hoo, whine. They're going to do everything they've been doing for the longest. But like I said, thank you all for watching. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comment section. Hopefully the Supreme Court keep doing the right thing. President Trump just scored a massive win hopefully he keep on getting these massive wins, because obviously the Democrats are not going to stop. They're going to try to undermine everything he do. They're going to keep getting these corrupt judges to rule against Donald Trump on purpose. They already, like I said, Chuck Schumer already admitted it. So we already know what's in store, what they're trying to do. And President Trump is going to be ready for it. So like I said, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.